The price of tomorrow. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of Orbital Station Delta, her reflection ghosting against the stars like a haunting reminder of humanity's fractured state. Below, Earth's surface bore the scars of the Kirash invasion. Sprawling impact craters where cities once stood, vast swathes of land still glowing with alien radiation. 3 years had passed since the attack, but the wounds remained fresh, both on the planet and in her heart. Commander. Lieutenant Rivera's voice pulled her from her thoughts. The engineering team is ready for inspection. Sarah nodded, straightening her dark blue uniform. Let's see what they've accomplished. They made their way through Delta's curved corridors, their footsteps echoing against metal walls that had once seemed impossibly advanced, but now felt primitive compared to what they'd learned from their enemies. The station's halls were cramped with refugees and military personnel, humanity's surviving leadership forced to share space with civilians who had nowhere else to go. The massive construction bay doors slid open, revealing humanity's answer to extinction, the Phoenix Dawn. Unlike the sleek, organic shapes of Kirash vessels, the Phoenix Dawn was all hard angles and practical human engineering, a fortress among the stars. At nearly 2 kilometers long, it represented everything they'd learned since the invasion, every scrap of salvaged technology and desperate innovation. Beautiful, isn't she? Dr. Marcus Wong approached, his prosthetic leg whirring softly. The former MIT professor had lost his leg during the Berkeley evacuation, but his mind remained sharp as ever. We've integrated the salvaged Kirash power core successfully. The radiation shielding is holding at 98% efficiency. Sarah studied the holographic readouts floating above his tablet. And the weapons systems. The mass drivers are conventional, but the energy weapons, Marcus grinned. We'd reversed engineered their plasma technology. They won't expect that from primitive humans. The pride in his voice was warranted. The Phoenix Dawn represented more than just humanity's military response. It was proof that they could adapt, learn, and evolve. Yet Sarah couldn't shake the weight pressing down on her shoulders. They had one shot at this, one ship to carry humanity's hopes. "Show me the bridge," she ordered. The command center was a marvel of human and alien integration. Holographic displays curved around a central captain's position, offering 360-degree visibility. Neural interface chairs, modified from salvaged Kirash technology, would allow the crew to react at unprecedented speeds. Neural interfaces make some of the crew nervous, Rivera commented as they toured the station. Anything that reminds them of the Kirash hive mind. They'll adapt, Sarah replied firmly. We all have to. She remembered the first time they'd encountered the Kirash neural network, how it had overwhelmed Earth's electronic defenses like they weren't even there. The alien shared consciousness had made them devastating opponents, but it had also revealed their greatest weakness. They couldn't conceive of individual thought as strength. A young engineer rushed up to them, tablet in hand. "Commander, we've detected an anomaly in the quantum communications array. The entanglement isn't holding." Sarah followed the engineer to a secondary control room where dozens of screens displayed diagnostic data. The quantum communications system was crucial. It would allow the Phoenix Dawn to coordinate with the remaining human outposts without risk of Kirash interception. "Show me," she ordered, leaning over the console. The next hours dissolved into technical discussions and problem-solving. This was where Sarah felt most at home. Not in diplomatic meetings discussing humanity's future, but in the trenches with her people, solving the practical problems that stood between them and survival. As she worked, her mind drifted to the final day of the invasion. She had been stationed at Vandenberg Air Force Base when the first Kirash ships appeared over Los Angeles. The aliens hadn't even bothered with demands or ultimatums. They simply began reshaping the Earth to their needs, heedless of the billions of humans in their way. "Commander," Rivera's voice snapped her back to the present. "Admiral Fraser is requesting your presence in the war room." Sarah nodded, pushing away from the console. The quantum communications would have to wait. She made her way through the station's upper levels, where the remaining military command had established their headquarters. Admiral Fraser stood before a massive tactical display, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic stars. At 73, he was one of the few senior military leaders to survive the invasion, and the years since hadn't been kind. "Sarah," he greeted her warmly. "How's our girl coming along?" "The Phoenix Dawn will be ready for her shakedown cruise in 3 weeks," she reported. "But there's something else you should know. The quantum communications array is showing instabilities. We might need to delay if we can't resolve it." Fraser's expression darkened. "We don't have 3 weeks. Intelligence just confirmed our worst fears." He gestured to the tactical display, where a cluster of red dots was slowly moving through the Kuiper belt. Long-range sensors detected a Kirash seed fleet. "They're establishing a foothold in our solar system again." Sarah's blood ran cold. The Kirash operated in waves. Seed fleets established infrastructure for the main invasion forces. If they were moving back into the solar system, how long? She asked. "Based on their current trajectory, 2 weeks until they reach the outer colonies. Maybe another week before they detect our remaining Earth installations." Fraser's voice was grim. "The Phoenix Dawn needs to be ready before that happens. We won't survive another direct confrontation." Sarah studied the tactical display, her mind racing. "The weapon systems are operational, and life support is stable. We can finish the quantum communications array in transit if we have to." "Can the ship fight?" "Yes," Sarah answered without hesitation. "But we'll be going in blind without quantum comms. Standard channels are too easily detected." Fraser was quiet for a long moment, staring at the holographic representation of humanity's doom approaching. "Sometimes," he said finally, "we have to take risks to survive. You know what the Kirash did to Earth. We can't let them finish what they started." Sarah thought of her family in San Francisco, of the millions who had died when the aliens decided that human cities were inconvenient to their terraforming plans. The Kirash hadn't acted out of malice, and somehow that made it worse. To them, humanity had been nothing more than an indigenous species to be cleared away, like cutting down a forest to build a shopping mall. "I'll have the Phoenix Dawn ready in 10 days, she declared. Fraser raised an eyebrow. "Can you do it without compromising safety?" "We'll work in shifts, every engineer, every technician, every person who can hold a wrench." Sarah's voice was steel. "This is what we built her for. We're not running anymore." The Admiral nodded slowly. "I'm giving you command of the mission. Your experience with Kirash technology makes you the obvious choice, and the crew respects you." Sarah had expected this, but the weight of command settled heavily on her shoulders nonetheless. The Phoenix Dawn wasn't just another ship. It was possibly humanity's last hope for survival. "What are my orders?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. "Find out what they're building out there. If possible, stop them. If not," Fraser's eyes met hers, "make sure we have enough warning to evacuate the outer colonies." Sarah nodded. "And if we encounter their main fleet, then you do what humanity does best." Fraser smiled grimly. "You adapt. You survive. You make them regret ever hearing of Earth." Later that night, Sarah stood in her quarters, staring at an old photo, her family at the Golden Gate Bridge, just months before the invasion. Her daughter Emily's smile, frozen in time, reminded her of everything they had lost, everything they were fighting to avenge. She placed the photo in her go-bag along with her other essential items. In 10 days, they would either change the course of human history or join the long list of species that had faced extinction in the vastness of space. As she packed, a message flashed on her terminal. "Attention all personnel. Project Phoenix Dawn entering final preparation phase. All leaves canceled. Report to assigned stations." Sarah Chen, commander of humanity's most advanced warship, took one last look at Earth through her viewport. The cradle of humanity was wounded but not dead, and its children had learned to bite back. "We're coming," she whispered to the stars, a promise to both her crew and their enemies. And this time, we're ready. Ghost Protocol. Stealth systems engage. The words hung in the air of the Phoenix Dawn's bridge as Commander Sarah Chen watched the ship's external cameras. The revolutionary cloaking system, reverse-engineered from salvaged Kiresh technology, wrapped around the vessel like a second skin. To any observer, they would appear as nothing more than a slight gravitational anomaly, easily dismissed as space debris. Power signature nominal. Lieutenant Rivera reported from his neural interface chair. His eyes were closed, direct neural feeds streaming ship diagnostics directly into his consciousness. Heat sinks at 40% capacity. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. After 3 weeks of shakedown cruises, the Phoenix Dawn was performing beyond expectations. Now came the real test. "Take us in," she ordered. Standard approach vector to the Kuiper Belt installation. The massive ship glided forward, its movements precise despite its size. They had tracked the Kiresh seed fleet to this location, a cluster of icy bodies at the edge of the solar system. Initial scans had detected significant energy signatures, confirming their worst fears. The aliens were building something. Multiple structures detected. Dr. Wang's voice came through the comm. He was in the sensor lab, coordinating with the science team. Definitely Kiresh architecture, but the configuration is unusual. Sarah frowned. Unusual how? Their structures typically follow strict geometric patterns. It's part of their hive mind efficiency. But this, a holographic image appeared before her, showing twisted spires and irregular formations. This is chaotic, almost organic. "Maintain distance," Sarah ordered. Full sensor sweep. The minutes ticked by as the Phoenix Dawn's advanced sensors probed the alien installation. The bridge crew worked in tense silence, each connected to their stations through neural interfaces that made them one with the ship. Suddenly, Rivera stiffened in his chair. "Commander, I'm detecting human life signs." Sarah's blood ran cold. "Confirm." Multiple signatures. At least 300 individuals, scattered throughout the facility. Rivera's voice was tight with tension. "They're alive, but their neural patterns are wrong." Before Sarah could respond, another voice cut through the comm. "Commander, this is Dr. Patel of InMedical. You need to see this data." The medical readouts appeared before her, and Sarah's stomach turned. The human life signs showed severe neural modifications, patterns that suggested deep integration with Kiresh technology. "They're experimenting on survivors." Dr. Patel's voice was horrified. "These readings, they're trying to force human minds into their hive network." Sarah's hands clenched on her armrests. The Kiresh hadn't just been killing humans. They'd been capturing them, studying them, trying to understand why they couldn't simply be absorbed into their collective consciousness like other species they'd encountered. "Battle stations," she ordered, her voice steel. "Prepare boarding teams. We're not leaving our people in that hell." "Commander," Rivera protested, "if we engage, we'll lose our stealth advantage. The entire Kiresh fleet will know we're here." "Then we'd better be quick." Sarah stood, addressing the bridge crew. "This is what the Phoenix Dawn was built for. We hit hard, we hit fast, and we show these bastards that humanity doesn't abandon its own." The next hour was a flurry of preparation. Combat teams donned advanced battle suits, another innovation combining human ingenuity with salvaged alien tech. Each suit was equipped with its own miniature stealth system and neural dampeners to protect against Kiresh psychic attacks. Sarah stood in the deployment bay, checking her own suit's systems. She had no intention of commanding this mission from the bridge. "Planning to join the party?" a familiar voice asked. Dr. Marcus Wong approached, his prosthetic leg now encased in combat armor. "You're not cleared for combat operations," Sarah noted. Marcus smiled grimly. "With respect, Commander, I'm the foremost expert on Kiresh tech. You'll need me to interface with their systems, and," his expression darkened, "I need to see what they're doing to our people." Sarah studied him for a moment before nodding. Stay close to my team. The boarding operation began with surgical precision. Stealth shuttles carried strike teams to different entry points across the facility. Sarah's team would head for the central control hub while other groups located and extracted the human prisoners. As their shuttle approached, Sarah got her first close look at the alien structure. It was unlike anything they'd encountered before, a twisted maze of biomechanical architecture that seemed to pulse with its own life. Reading minimal security presence, their pilot reported. They're not expecting company this far out. The shuttle attached to an external airlock, cutting through with specialized tools designed to breach Kiresh hull materials. Sarah's team moved in first, their boots magnetizing to the alien metal. Inside, the facility was even more disturbing. The corridors seemed to breathe, walls lined with pulsing organic circuitry. The air was thick with a sweet metallic smell that their suits' filters couldn't quite eliminate. Life signs are stronger, Marcus reported, consulting his scanner. Large concentration 2 levels down, but the research data we're picking up. He trailed off. How bad? Sarah asked. They're not just studying us. Marcus's voice was tight. They're trying to force human consciousness to function like theirs. The failures, the neural trauma would be catastrophic. Sarah's jaw clenched. Then we end this. Now, they encountered their first Kiresh guards at a junction. Tall, insectoid creatures with crystalline growths that served as both armor and communication nodes. The aliens didn't even have time to raise an alarm before precision shots from human weapons took them down. Their neural network will notice the disconnection soon, Marcus warned. Then we move faster. Sarah activated her comm. All teams, execute with extreme prejudice. We just started our countdown. They fought their way deeper into the facility, encountering pockets of resistance that grew increasingly fierce. The Kiresh were adapting to their presence, but human neural dampeners prevented the aliens from bringing their full hive-mind coordination to bear. When they reached the holding cells, Sarah's world turned red. Hundreds of humans were suspended in biomechanical pods, their bodies pierced by countless interfaces. Some were conscious, their eyes wide with terror and pain. Others were mercifully unconscious, but their faces showed evidence of prolonged suffering. My God, Marcus breathed. The neural integration. They're trying to force a collective consciousness. Get them out, Sarah ordered, her voice shaking with rage. All of them. As medical teams began the delicate process of extracting the prisoners, Sarah's group pressed on to the control center. They needed to destroy this facility, ensure nothing like this could happen again. The central chamber was a nightmare of organic technology. A massive crystalline structure dominated the center, pulsing with energy and surrounded by alien research stations. This is it, Marcus said, already moving to interface with the systems. Their research database, everything they've learned about human neural architecture. Download what you can, Sarah ordered. Then we burn it all. But as Marcus worked, Sarah noticed something in the data streaming across his display. Wait, she said. What's that pattern? Marcus frowned, focusing on the section she indicated. His face went pale. This isn't just research. They're not trying to understand us. They're trying to weaponize human consciousness. Explain. Our resistance to their hive mind, our capacity for individual thought. They see it as a resource. They're trying to create a hybrid consciousness that combines human individuality with their collective efficiency. Marcus looked up, horror in his eyes. If they succeed, they could expand across the galaxy unstoppable. Sarah finished. Human adaptability with Kiresh unity. A distant explosion rocked the facility. Commander, Rivera's voice came through the comm. Multiple Kiresh ships just entered the system. We need to go now. Sarah made her decision. Marcus, get everything you can. We're taking their research and every survivor we can save. Then we're going to make sure they never recover from this. The next 20 minutes were chaos. Combat teams fell back to their extraction points. protecting medical units carrying the rescued prisoners. Sarah's team set charges throughout the facility's critical systems, paying special attention to the research centers. As they ran for their shuttle, Sarah activated her neural interface, connecting directly to the Phoenix Dawn's weapon systems. The ship's massive guns were already aligned with the facility's weak points. They were barely clear when Sarah gave the order. Fire. The Phoenix Dawn's main guns roared to life, enhanced by Kirash plasma technology. The facility didn't just explode, it was vaporized, the alien metal and organic components reduced to their constituent atoms. Back on the bridge, Sarah watched the destruction with grim satisfaction. But she knew this was just the beginning. The Kirash would know now that humanity wasn't just hiding and licking its wounds. They were fighting back. "Status of the survivors?" she asked. "Medical bay is overwhelmed," Dr. Puddle reported. "But we can treat the physical damage. The neural trauma, that will take time." Sarah nodded. "Set course for the outer colonies. We need to warn them what's coming." She paused, looking at the tactical display where multiple Kirash ships were converging on their previous position. "And send a message to Admiral Fraser. Tell him we found something worse than an invasion force. The enemy isn't just trying to destroy us anymore. They're trying to become us." The wayward stars. The Phoenix Dawn drifted silently through the Oort cloud, its massive hull collecting a fine dusting of ice particles. 3 months had passed since the rescue mission, and their supplies were running dangerously low. Supporting over 300 survivors had strained their resources beyond projected limits. Commander Sarah Chen studied the logistics report with growing concern. Their hydroponics bay was operating at maximum capacity, but it wasn't enough. They needed to find supplies, and soon. "Long-range scans complete," Rivera announced from his station. "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from the HD 40,307 system. Could be mining operations." Sarah frowned. The system wasn't marked in any of their pre-invasion stellar charts. Kirash. Negative. The energy pattern is completely different. Actually, Rivera paused, his neural interface processing the data. "I've never seen anything like it." Sarah weighed their options. They needed supplies, but encountering an unknown species was risky. Humanity's weakness couldn't remain secret forever, but she'd hoped to maintain the illusion of strength a little longer. "Plot an approach vector," she decided, "but keep our stealth systems engaged. We observe first." The Phoenix Dawn changed course, its massive engines barely a whisper in the void. As they approached HD 40,307, the sensor data became clearer. The system's 6th planet hosted a sprawling installation, definitely artificial, but with an architectural style that was neither human nor Kirash. "Multiple ships detected," Rivera reported. "Their design. It's beautiful." The tactical display showed vessels that seemed to be made of living crystal, their forms flowing and organic, but in a way completely different from the nightmare biomechanics of the Kirash. They moved with impossible grace, leaving trails of prismatic energy in their wake. "Commander," Dr. Wang's voice came through the comm. "You need to see this. Their energy signatures. They're not using conventional propulsion. These ships are manipulating the fabric of space-time itself." Before Sarah could respond, a new voice filled the bridge, musical, multilayered, and speaking perfect English. "Unknown vessel, your stealth technology is impressive, but we've been tracking you since you entered the system. Please identify yourself." The bridge crew froze. Sarah's mind raced. Their stealth systems were the most advanced humanity had ever created, if these aliens could detect them so easily. She made her decision. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Phoenix Dawn. We're seeking supplies, and come in peace." There was a pause, then, "Earth, the 3rd planet of Sol system." The alien voice carried a note of recognition. "We observed the Kirash invasion of your world. Many wanted to intervene, but our Council of Elders forbade it. They feared drawing the Kirash's attention. Sarah's hands clenched. They had known, had watched Earth burn, and done nothing. "We are the Meridians," the voice continued, "and perhaps it is time we corrected our past mistake. You may dock at our primary station. We have much to discuss." The next hours were a crash course in diplomatic relations. The Meridians, it turned out, were an ancient species that had evolved beyond physical form. Their crystalline ships and stations were actually bodies they had engineered to interact with corporeal beings. In the station's grand meeting chamber, Sarah found herself facing a being of pure energy, contained within a roughly humanoid crystalline structure. It called itself Ambassador Lyra. "Your survival is remarkable," Lyra said, its form shifting through colors as it spoke. "Few species have ever successfully resisted Kurash integration." "We had no choice," Sarah replied. "They didn't give us one." "Perhaps." Lyra's form pulsed thoughtfully. "But your very nature made you unique. The Kurash hive mind cannot comprehend species that value individual consciousness. It is why they find humans so fascinating and so dangerous." Sarah thought of the research facility they'd destroyed, of the tortured survivors still recovering in their medical bay. "They're trying to weaponize our individuality." "Yes." Lyra's colors darkened. "And if they succeed, they will become unstoppable. The Meridian Council believes this is why we must finally take action. We propose an alliance." "An alliance?" Sarah's voice was skeptical. "You stayed hidden while Earth burned. Why help us now?" "Because you've proven yourselves worthy of survival." Lyra's form brightened. "Your ship, this Phoenix Dawn, it uses salvaged Kurash technology, yes. But you've modified it, improved it. In 3 years, you've done what other species took centuries to achieve." "We adapt," Sarah said simply. "We have to." "Indeed. The Meridians can offer you resources, technology, safe harbors for your refugees. In return, we ask for your innovation, your unique perspective on warfare, and—" Lyra paused. "Access to your stealth technology." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "You said you could detect us." "We detected a gravitational anomaly and guessed. Your stealth systems are far more advanced than you realize, combined with our space-time manipulation technology." Lyra's form shimmered with excitement. But Sarah had commanded a warship too long to trust easily. "Why now? What aren't you telling us?" The crystalline being seemed to sigh. "The Kurash are expanding faster than ever before. Their experiments on humans have taught them new approaches to conquest. They're adapting, learning from you even as they try to subsume you. More worlds are falling each cycle. And now you're afraid." Sarah realized. Even the mighty Meridians aren't safe anymore. "Fear is not inaccurate," Lyra admitted. "But there is also regret. We should have helped Earth. Perhaps together we can prevent other worlds from sharing its fate." Sarah studied the being before her. The Meridians were clearly powerful, their technology far beyond anything humanity currently possessed. But their fear of the Kurash had made them passive, watching from the shadows as civilizations fell. "I'll need to consult with Earth Command," she said finally. "But first, we need supplies. Food, medicine, raw materials." "Of course." Lyra gestured, and several crystalline beings floated forward with data crystals. "These contain replication patterns for our matter synthesizers. They can produce anything your ship needs." As the Phoenix Dawn's crew began transferring supplies and technical data, Sarah received an urgent message from Dr. Wong. "Commander, you need to see this. The Meridian technology. It's incredible, but there's something odd about their system architectures." In the science lab, Wong pulled up complex technical schematics. "Their technology is based on principles we barely understand, but look at these command structures. They're designed for individual users, not their collective consciousness." Sarah frowned. "They're energy beings. Why would they need—" "Exactly." Wong's eyes were bright with excitement. "They've been preparing for this. Their technological development, their system designs, They've been getting ready to work with individual consciousness species, with us. They knew we'd survive, Sarah realized. They were watching, waiting to see if we were worth the risk. And now they want to learn from us. Wong nodded. Our adaptability, our innovation. It's what they lack. They have power but not creativity, technology but not tactical insight. Sarah thought of Earth, of the colonies struggling to survive, of the survivors in their medical bay still haunted by Kirash experiments. The Meridian's help could turn the tide, but at what cost? And could they be trusted? Back on the bridge, she opened a channel to the Meridian station. Ambassador Lyra, we accept your offer of supplies. As for the Alliance, we have terms of our own to discuss. The crystalline being's form brightened. Of course. Though I sense you have questions about our true motives, the Kirash aren't just a threat to us anymore, Sarah said. They're evolving, adapting our strengths to their purposes. If we're going to stop them, we need to do the same. Combine our strengths, cover each other's weaknesses, but as equals, not as convenient allies. Equals. Lyra seemed amused. Your species is so young enough to still be hungry. Sarah countered. Young enough to take risks your people have forgotten about. The Kirash fear us because we're unpredictable. Maybe it's time you learn to be unpredictable too. The Meridian ambassador was silent for a long moment. Finally, its form shifted to a deep blue. Perhaps that is exactly what we need. Very well, Commander Chen. Let us discuss what true alliance would mean. As negotiations began, Sarah knew they were walking a dangerous line. The Meridians could be powerful allies or dangerous enemies, but humanity needed every advantage they could get. The war was about to enter a new phase, and the Phoenix Dawn would be at the forefront once again. But this time, they wouldn't be fighting alone. Whether that was a blessing or a curse remained to be seen. Echo of Earth. Signal detected. The announcement cut through the usual bridge chatter like a knife. Commander Sarah Chen looked up from her tactical discussions with the Meridian technical advisor, Crystal Song, whose crystalline form sparkled under the bridge lights. Source. Sarah demanded. Rivera's hands danced over his console. It's one of ours. An old emergency beacon, pre-invasion frequencies. But that's impossible. It's coming from the Proxima Centauri system. Sarah exchanged looks with Crystal Song, whose form shifted to a curious amber hue. The Meridians had helped upgrade the Phoenix Dawn's sensors during their 2 months of alliance, but even they hadn't detected human activity this far from Sol. Play it, Sarah ordered. A scratchy voice filled the bridge. This is New Haven Colony broadcasting on all emergency frequencies. To any human vessels that survive, we're here. We made it. If you're receiving this, we're not alone anymore. The message repeated, and Sarah felt her throat tighten. New Haven. She remembered now. During the chaos of the invasion, some colony ships had attempted desperate blind jumps to escape the Kirash. Most were presumed lost. How many? She asked quietly. Rivera consulted his enhanced sensors, reading a significant settlement on Proxima B environmental domes, power signatures. Preliminary estimate suggests at least 50,000 people. 50,000 survivors. It was more than all the remaining Earth colonies combined. Your people are remarkably resilient, Crystal Song observed, their tone carrying the musical undertones characteristic of Meridian speech. But approaching this colony may be complicated. Sarah nodded. After 4 years of isolation, who knew how the colony had developed? What they'd become? Plot a course, she ordered, but maintain stealth protocols until we can assess the situation. The Phoenix Dawn altered course, its Meridian-enhanced engines allowing them to cover the distance to Proxima Centauri in days rather than years. As they approached, the sensors revealed more details about New Haven. The colony had transformed the surface of Proxima, creating massive environmental domes that protected them from the planet's harsh conditions. But it was their technology that caught everyone's attention. These readings don't make sense, Dr. Wong reported from the science lab. They're using some kind of quantum manipulation technology we've never seen before. It's not Kirash, not Meridian. It's completely new. 4 years of isolation forced them to innovate differently, Sarah mused. Without salvaged alien tech to work with, they had to find their own path. Crystal Song's form pulsed with interest. Their approach is unique. They've developed technologies even the Meridians never considered. Necessity truly is the mother of invention. As they entered orbit, Sarah made her decision. Open a channel. Let's hope they're still willing to talk to their long-lost cousins. The response was immediate. A woman's face appeared on the main screen, her features sharp and her eyes carrying the same haunted look Sarah saw in every human survivor. This is Director Amanda Pottle of New Haven Colony. Phoenix Dawn, your ship design is unlike anything in our database. Identify yourself. Sarah stepped forward. This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We received your beacon. Patel's expression flickered with emotion before hardening again. Prove you're human. The Kirash are skilled mimics. During the invasion, Sarah said carefully, Colony Ship N7 made an unauthorized blind jump from Luna Base. Captain David Patel, your husband, I assume, refused direct orders to wait for escort. He said, and I quote, sometimes the only way to win is to flip the damn table. Amanda Patel's composure cracked slightly. David, he didn't make it. The jump drive radiation. But he got us here. He gave us a chance. She straightened. You have permission to dock at our main facility. But be warned, we're not the same people who left Earth. The docking procedure revealed just how different New Haven had become. Their space station used technology that seemed to bend reality itself, creating spaces that were bigger inside than outside. Sarah led a small delegation including Dr. Wong and Crystal Song, whose presence caused quite a stir among the colony's security forces. The station's interior was a marvel of engineering, clean lines, and impossible geometries that made even the Meridian advisor pulse with appreciation. Director Patel met them in a conference room that seemed to float in space, the walls completely transparent yet somehow structural. Welcome to New Haven. I apologize for our caution, but survival has taught us to be careful. We understand, Sarah replied. But I have to ask, how did you achieve all this? Amanda's expression was proud but guarded. Necessity. Without Earth's resources or alien technology to salvage, we had to think differently. Our scientists discovered that reality here, so close to Proxima Centauri, is more flexible. We learned to manipulate it. Dr. Wong was practically vibrating with excitement. You're talking about quantum engineering on a macro scale. That should be impossible. Impossible is a luxury we couldn't afford, Amanda stated flatly. We had 50,000 people to keep alive on a hostile world. Orthodox physics wasn't getting the job done. Crystal Song floated forward, their crystalline form drawing suspicious looks from the colony security team. Your achievements are remarkable. The Meridians would be very interested in exchanging technological knowledge. Amanda's eyes narrowed. You made friends with energy beings, Commander. Interesting choice. The galaxies change, Sarah replied. The Kirash are evolving, adapting. We need allies. Allies? Amanda laughed bitterly. Where were these allies when Earth burned? When we were making that blind jump into the unknown? They were afraid, Sarah acknowledged, like we were. But now we're all fighting back. The Phoenix Dawn has already struck several blows against the Kirash. With New Haven's technology. No. Amanda's response was immediate. We built this haven to survive, not to fight wars. We're not soldiers anymore, Sarah. We're something new. Dr. Wong stepped forward. But your quantum manipulation technology, combined with our salvaged Kirash tech and Meridian spacetime manipulation, we could. Could what? Amanda interrupted. Draw the Kirash's attention. We've survived by staying hidden, developing in ways they can't predict or understand. If we join your fight, we risk everything we've built." Sarah studied the woman before her. She saw the same fear she'd seen in the Meridians, the desire to hide, to survive rather than confront. But humanity couldn't hide forever. "They're already looking for us," Sarah said quietly. "The facility we raided, they're trying to weaponize human consciousness. Sooner or later, they'll succeed. And when they do, no haven will be safe enough." Amanda was silent for a long moment. Finally, she sighed. "Show me. Show me what you found, what they're doing to our people." The next hours were spent reviewing the Phoenix Dawn's data, the horror of the research facility, the rescued survivors still recovering, the evidence of Kirash evolution. Through it all, Amanda's expression grew increasingly troubled. "We have children here," she said finally. "A whole generation born free of Earth's shadow, free of the war. What you're asking? I'm asking you to help us ensure they stay free." Sarah replied. "Your quantum technology, our hybrid chips, Meridian space-time manipulation. Together we might have a real chance, not just to survive, but to win." Crystal Song pulsed with agreement. "The Kirash cannot adapt to what they cannot comprehend. Your unique development path may be key to defeating them." Amanda stood, walking to the transparent wall to stare at the stars. David always said running wasn't enough, that someday we'd have to stand and fight. She turned back to Sarah. "I'll speak to the council, but I warn you, if we do this, we do it our way. New Haven won't be absorbed back into Earth's military structure." Sarah nodded. "We're all something new now. Earth, New Haven, the Meridians. None of us can go back to what we were. Maybe that's our strength." As they prepared to return to the Phoenix Dawn, Amanda stopped Sarah. "Commander, the children here, they have a saying. They call Earth the first home, not the last. Maybe they're right. Maybe we need to stop looking back at what we lost and start building something new." Sarah thought of the Phoenix Dawn, of its hybrid technology and diverse crew. Maybe we already are. The alliance with New Haven wouldn't be simple. Their different paths had created different priorities, different dreams. But as the Phoenix Dawn prepared to depart, Sarah felt hope for the first time in years. They had found not just survivors, but a new vision of humanity's future. Now they just had to live long enough to reach it. Rising dawn. The combined fleet hung in the void like a constellation of human defiance. The Phoenix Dawn at its center, flanked by crystalline Meridian vessels and New Haven's reality-bending ships. Commander Sarah Chen stood on her bridge, watching the final preparations through the tactical display. "All ships reporting ready," Rivera announced, his neural interface processing data from dozens of vessels simultaneously. "New Haven's quantum fields are stable, and the Meridian space-time matrices are aligned." Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. 3 months of planning, of combining technologies that were never meant to work together, of forging trust between species that had every reason to doubt each other. It all came down to this. "Status of the Kirash Hive Nexus?" she asked. Dr. Wang's voice came through the comm, tinged with excitement and fear. "Their defenses are exactly where intelligence said they'd be. The quantum scanning New Haven provided confirms it. This is their central consciousness hub, the source of their hive mind. And our new weapon. The prototype is stable," Amanda Patel reported from her command ship, the Reality's Edge. "Combining our quantum manipulation with Meridian space-time tech and your Kirash-derived neural interfaces. It's never been tested at this scale, but the simulations are promising." Crystal Song's form shimmered with anticipation on their crystalline command pedestal. "The Meridian fleet is prepared to create the space-time corridor. But, Commander, are you certain about leading the strike team personally?" Sarah checked her advanced combat suit one final time. It was a marvel of combined technology. Meridian crystal tech for protection, New Haven quantum fields for reality manipulation, and modified Kirash neural interfaces for enhanced reaction time. "The strike team needs to plant the device directly in their neural matrix," she replied. We get one shot at this. I need to be there. The plan was audacious, perhaps insane. They would use the Meridian space-time manipulation to create a corridor through the Kirash defenses. New Haven's quantum technology would mask their approach, making them appear as a simple space-time anomaly. And the Phoenix Dawn's advanced stealth systems would get a strike team inside the Hive Nexus itself. But the true weapon was something else entirely. A device that combined all their technologies to introduce individual consciousness into the Kirash hive mind. Not to destroy them, but to transform them. All ships, battle positions, Sarah ordered. Begin Operation Daybreak. The Meridian ships moved first, their crystalline forms arranging in a complex geometric pattern. Energy beams connected them, weaving a web of space-time distortions that began to bend reality itself. New Haven's vessels added their power, their quantum manipulators making the impossible corridor seem like a natural phenomenon. The Kirash defenses remained silent, their sensors unable to comprehend what they were seeing. Corridor stable, Crystal Song reported. You have 18 minutes before the space-time matrix collapses. Sarah turned to her strike team. A mix of her best soldiers, New Haven quantum engineers, and even a Meridian energy being housed in a combat-modified crystal form. Time to move. The Phoenix Dawn glided forward, its stealth systems making it nearly invisible even to Allied sensors. As they approached the massive Kirash structure, Sarah felt a familiar anger rising. This was where it had all been coordinated: Earth's invasion, the experiments on human prisoners, the relentless expansion across the galaxy. Their insertion was perfect. The strike team breached the outer hull using New Haven's quantum tools, slipping through reality itself to emerge inside the facility. But the Kirash were not entirely unprepared. Multiple contacts, Lieutenant Rivera warned through the comm. They can't track us precisely, but they know something's wrong. The first wave of Kirash defenders was unlike anything they'd encountered before. The aliens had evolved, their forms incorporating elements of salvaged human and Meridian technology. They moved with both hive-mind coordination and troubling individuality. They're adapting faster than we thought. Dr. Wong's voice was tense. The hybrid consciousness experiments must be further along than we realized. The strike team fought their way deeper, their combined technologies proving barely enough to match the evolved Kirash. Sarah watched as a New Haven engineer phased through solid matter to flank their enemies, while the Meridian warriors' crystalline form refracted energy weapons back at their sources. But they took losses. Good people fell, their sacrifices buying the precious minutes needed to reach the central chamber. When they finally breached the Nexus core, Sarah understood why the Kirash had fought so desperately to protect it. The chamber was a cathedral of alien consciousness. Massive crystalline structures pulsed with the combined thoughts of billions of connected minds. The air itself seemed to vibrate with psychic energy. By all that's holy, Amanda breathed through the comm. The quantum readings. This is the source, the origin point of their entire species' consciousness. Then let's give them something new to think about, Sarah said, pulling out the device they'd created. Plant the quantum anchors, just like we planned. The team moved quickly, placing the reality-altering devices at precise points around the chamber. Each one combined Meridian crystal technology with New Haven's quantum manipulation, creating a web of altered space-time that would channel their weapon's effect through the entire hive mind. But the Kirash had one final surprise. A figure emerged from the neural matrix, humanoid but wrong, its form shifting between human and Kirash characteristics. When it spoke, its voice was a horrifying blend of individual personality and collective will. "We remember you, Sarah Chen," it said. "Your mind was unique, resistant, strong. You showed us what we could become." Sarah raised her weapon. "You're an abomination, a hybrid. We are evolution," it replied. "The future, humanity's greatest strength combined with our unity. Why do you resist? We offer transcendence. You offer extinction." Sarah spat. the death of everything that makes us human. The hybrid moved with impossible speed, but Sarah's enhanced reflexes allowed her to dodge. The battle that followed was a nightmare of physical and psychic combat. The hybrid commanded nearby Kurash with perfect coordination while fighting with human unpredictability. Sarah's team provided covering fire as she fought her way to the central control platform. The hybrid pressed its attack, its form becoming more alien with each passing second. "Your weapon cannot harm us," it said. "We are already changing, adapting. Your technology is part of us now." Sarah smiled grimly. "You still don't understand. We're not trying to harm you. We're trying to wake you up." She slammed the device into the neural matrix and activated it. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. The combined quantum and space-time technologies created a cascade of consciousness through the hive mind. But instead of destroying it, they introduced something the Kurash had never truly experienced: genuine individuality. The ability to think independently while remaining connected. The hybrid screamed, its form destabilizing, as the wave of change swept through it. Throughout the chamber, the crystalline structures began to pulse with new patterns, new thoughts. "Sarah," Crystal Song's voice was urgent through the calm. "The space-time corridor is collapsing. You need to get out now." The strike team fought their way back through chaos. The Kurash defenders were in disarray, their unified consciousness fragmenting into billions of individual minds that could still communicate but could no longer dominate each other. They barely made it back to the Phoenix Dawn before the corridor collapsed. As they retreated to safe distance, they watched the Kurash nexus undergo its transformation. "Neural activity is changing," Dr. Wong reported. "The hive mind isn't being destroyed, but restructured, like a dictatorship becoming a democracy." Hours turned to days as they monitored the changes rippling through Kurash space. Ships stopped their attacks, stations fell silent, and finally, they received a transmission. The face that appeared on their screen was Kurash, but its eyes held something new: genuine individual consciousness combined with the strength of willing connection. I speak for the change," it said haltingly. "We remember what we were, what we did. Each of us now carries the weight of our actions as individuals, not merely parts of a whole. We request dialogue." Sarah looked at her allies, Crystal Song's gently pulsing form, Amanda's cautious but hopeful expression, her own crew's tired but proud faces. They had done more than win a war. They had transformed an enemy into something new. "We're ready to talk," she replied. "All of us. Together." As the Phoenix Dawn turned toward home, Sarah thought about everything that had led to this moment. Earth's near extinction had forced humanity to evolve, to adapt, to become something more than they had been. The alliance with the Meridians and New Haven had shown them new ways of thinking, new paths to victory. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger, different, ready to help shape a galaxy where diversity of thought and unity of purpose could coexist. The dawn of a new era was rising, and humanity would help light the way. "Plot a course for Earth," Sarah ordered. "It's time to rebuild. All of us." The Phoenix Dawn's engines flared to life, carrying them toward a future none of them could have imagined. Behind them, the light of billions of newly awakened minds shone like stars in the darkness, a promise of change echoing across the cosmos. The end.